hello YouTube. For the 5 people that might watch this, I have decided to start reusing my YouTube channel, and I will be I'm just going to be doing right now behind the scenes recording of my podcast, so Coach Taylor Radio, which I'm putting out every week for the entire year of 2019 is the goal. And apparently, according to people sending me messages, I have to put them out every week for the rest of my life. So what you're going to have on this YouTube channel version is I'm just going to record me recording the podcast. So I might look at you, I might not. I might pay attention to you, I probably won't. And you're going to see my cuts and edits, and it's just going to be a long clip. Do with it what you want. If you don't want to watch this as a video, feel free to check it out my podcast, coachtaylorsimon.ca. You can see it there. It's on iTunes under Strength Coach Taylor. I don't know where else it is. It could be all over the place. I have no fucking idea. If you got questions or anything like that, comment below. Send me a message via my website, my Facebook, my Instagram, Coach_Taylor_Simon. I'm not a hard dude to get a hold of. Send me messages, talk, give me feedback. I'm here for you on that. But yeah, so every week I'll post up the whole video of recording the podcast. They usually are between 45 minutes and an hour long, so not quite Joe Rogan 2 hour long, but they're getting up there. Again, if you want to go through it faster and quicker, you can do just the audio. Yeah, feel free. Welcome to Coach Taylor Radio behind the scenes. This is how we get her going. Hello and welcome to episode 46 of Coach Taylor Radio. Look, this is episode 46 of Coach Taylor Radio. Take 3. That's right, take 3. Why? Well, because the first time I tried to record it, I wasn't paying attention to the things I normally pay attention to and muted the microphone. Recorded 3/4 of it with some amazing rants. And then realized the microphone is muted. Whoopsies. Apologies for that. So then I recorded it a second time. And then I just ran out of time because here's something new. I'm going to be putting this on YouTube, which means I have to video it. So I've got a lot of video equipment. I love photography. I'm into that shit. I've put on my microphone. It wasn't working. Tried 2 different cameras. They wouldn't record the way I wanted. Figured blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I've got a new microphone for that camera, the same microphone for this podcast, and it's all set up. Now don't fret, for those of you that just like listening, don't want to see, I'm going to always record this as an audio podcast. When I post it online, I'm probably going to post the video, but on my website and on iTunes, there will always be the audio version that you can listen to. Don't stress, it's not going straight video, because I know you might want to speed me up. Get it over and done with, pull that band-aid off faster, right? Alright, so on both the other versions of episode 46, my intro is extraordinarily long. And it's going to be, because last week some people got super fucking butthurt. And I want to talk about it a little bit, about some of the tactics that I have in here. But I got 2 things for you first. The first, number 1, is why aren't you in my Facebook group? Most of you that listen to this, and maybe now some of the people that watch this, are probably already in my Facebook group, Coach Taylor Simon group. You can link to it off my Facebook page, Coach Taylor Simon. But yeah, we talk about a lot of stuff and a lot of shit in there, and everybody is welcome. Like, join it. Well, I have to approve, and you've got to send a couple of, you got to answer some questions first, because I wasn't doing that, and fucking random people were randomly posting random shit, and they're obviously spammers, and I hate spammers and scammers passionately so much. I hate them passionately so much. That's number 1. Number 2, look, we've talked about this before. I don't get paid for any of this stuff. I do, however, have to earn a living. So sometimes you're going to have to listen to some marketing messages. But always, if I give you a marketing message, it's with your best interest at heart. I promise I will never hawk a product or sell anything that I don't fully 100% believe in. And I can believe in this product I'm going to hawk you right now because it's mine. Mostly I get questions on the regular of, can you train me, Coach Taylor? Help me with my fitness, blah, blah. okay. And now I get a lot of questions about this Odyssey that I'm on, in 2009 Health Odyssey, which is going stupendously. We'll talk about that later. But we're running my wife created and is running a spring fitness health challenge. I think it's 8 weeks long. Don't quote me, it could be 6, but I'm 95% sure it's 8 weeks long. It is based on my Health Odyssey. A lot of it, plus, of course, the learning and the other stuff that we normally do. So if anyone is interested, it's not free. It's also not stupendously expensive, right? So this spring, instead of buying a bunch of stupid fucking supplements or signing up for some stupid 8-week dumb fuck fat loss program, what you could do instead, do this 8-week challenge with us. You'll get to experience a little bit of what my Odyssey is all about, and really experience a lot of all this shit that I talk about all the time is all about. I will link to it on the YouTube. It's in my Coach Taylor group. I got links all over the place. You can go to tailoredtraining.ca, go into the fitness section, the spring challenge there. We'll post about it. If you can't find it, send me a message. I'll send you a link. We have so much shit, sometimes I don't know where anything is. All right, so those are the housekeeping things. Now, normally in the intro, okay, what are we going to talk about today? Do an Odyssey update. We're going to talk about my fasting article that came out, a couple of questions. We're going to talk about rolling, not foam rolling, but rolling around. Can you turn your muscle into fat? Can your muscle turn into fat? Can it? I don't know. We're going to talk about kids eating fat, whether they should or they shouldn't. And we're going to talk about something that research on plants. That's all I can say. We'll get into that later. But first, here's something. Look, last week I posted an article. Where is it? I posted an article called, the hell was it called? Oh yeah, your food's killing you? I'm going to find it so I don't fuck this up and take a bunch more flack this week from people ripping into me. Like hardcore ripping into me. I don't know what I did. Well, I know what I did perceptually that people think I deserve it. But that's just a problem. Okay, yeah, here it is. The United States has an epidemic of processed food and it's killing us. So I posted this article. It was on Medium. Oh god, I can't remember the author's name. It's a very, very good article. Does a great, succinct study of all the issues with our modern food system, especially in the United States and in Canada. Europe's not quite as bad, Australia's not quite as bad, but it's happening, and it's actually kind of funny when we see all these countries that start to adopt the food systems that are typically used in the United States and Canada, we start to see a decline in their health. Maybe there's something to that. Who knows? But anywho, that's not what this is about. This is about people getting fucking upset. So someone messaged me on my page, and we got into a lengthy discussion where she got pretty fucking insulting because she was personally offended by this article, and I shouldn't be so judgy, and how hard it is for a single parent with kids and a non-supportive spouse to eat healthy. I was like, whoa. First of all, I didn't judge anybody. I'm just presenting the facts. Like, the fact is, eating processed food fucks you up, and it's bad for you, and it's a bunch of chemical concocted shitstorms that you really don't need nor want in your life. Like, I'm not just making this shit up, right? So it was just presenting that. Okay, it's hard to be a parent and get your kids to eat, and your non-supportive spouse feeds them shit when you're not there, and you try really hard. That's awesome. Keep trying hard. I'm not saying don't, or that it's not hard or challenging, because I have a sister who's separated, has 2 young girls, that deals with the exact same fucking shit, and I try to help her out. But then the same argument comes up. Well, you're not a parent, you just don't fucking know. Okay, look, parents, I do appreciate how fucking hard it is to raise kids. That's why I don't want any. That's why I don't have them, is because I truly appreciate how hard and life-changing that is. If you love your kids, that's awesome. Keep loving them. I just don't want to have them. But that doesn't mean that I am therefore excluded from an opinion on scheduling, psychology, a whole bunch of other things. Because you see, just because you've birthed children, or your partner's birthed children and you're also raising them, doesn't make you an expert on raising them. Just because you have kids doesn't mean you're an expert on raising kids. Therefore, just because I don't have kids doesn't mean that I can't understand some things about raising kids. All I'm trying to present is that these food choices that we give to kids today are fucking terrible and doing physiological damage to them. And you can fucking stick your head in the sand and cry all you want about how they just won't eat anything but chicken nuggets and chicken fingers. Cool. It doesn't change the fact that it's hurting them and it's bad for them. If you're feeding them fruit roll-ups and Dunkaroos and goldfish crackers and cereal and all this shit, you're doing damage to them. Cool, it's hard to not feed them to that shit, but it doesn't mean that it's not doing bad stuff, right? And then people fucking went off on a bender, like on crazy shit. I don't think it ended when I started banning and blocking people. I was something about white male privilege, and you just wouldn't know, and some more arguments came in there. It's just too expensive. It's just too expensive to eat healthy food. Fucking look, okay? A bag of Oreos, $3. A 10-pound bag of potatoes, $3. I don't understand how it suddenly got more expensive to eat healthy, because a potato is a nutritional fucking powerhouse superfood. And you can get a lot more potatoes for the same amount of money than you can Oreos. And then time. Well, I don't have time to cook. Cool, I appreciate that. But if you know the plot of a couple shows on Netflix, then you probably have the time to cook some nutritious food, or do some learning into nutritious food, or find a couple online blogs of other single parents raising kids who don't have a lot of time and money and what they do. Because the great thing about the world today is there's so much information. You can find someone out there who's dealt with these. Not me, because I'm not a parent. I get it. You can find someone else out there who's dealt with this stuff, right? It's about choices, and we all have to make choices, because then people got super fucking insulting and fucking went on. Oh God, I can't even remember now. Then they started calling me names and this, that, and the other thing, white male privilege. Oh yeah, and then expense, no time, blah, blah. I'm like, look, you're on your fucking iPhone. You live in a first world country, on your data plan, on Facebook, in the middle of the fucking day, messaging me that you don't have time and money. Just let that sink in for a second. If you've got the time to do that, you've got the time to read some blogs on how to eat better food. And this is the shit that gets Coach Taylor in trouble. And it shouldn't. I'm not saying anything insulting. I'm appreciating that things are hard. This is just the truth. So I dealt with all of that. And then the next day, I'm going to call him anatomy and expert bro. Because he called me bro. I'm like, I don't get the bro thing. Whatever. I put out a video last week on your abs and ab exercise, and how V-sits and leg raises aren't ab exercises, because the rectus originates on the hip and originates on the ribs and inserts on the hip. And so the guy calls me out on my poor anatomy expertise. The abs don't insert on the hip. They insert on the pelvis. Really? The hip versus the pelvis. So I nicely responded back and said, hey, look, I use the term hip. I didn't use pubic symphysis. Because when I talk to people, I'm talking to people that aren't experts in anatomy, and they don't really distinguish between pelvis and hip, so I try to use the words that mean the most to the people that I talk to, right? I don't talk about, biceps brachii, long head, when you supinate and go into extension is terrible for your rotator cuff area. Why? Because no one knows what the fuck I just said unless they have a really great understanding of anatomy. Now, I also pointed out and thanked this human being for actually correcting me. And this is something that I got wrong multiple times on, anatomy bell ringer tests that I took during my anatomy courses at university. in my undergrad time before I did a master's degree in human movement and physiology and did more anatomy, and I got this wrong, and I apologize to all of you for getting this wrong. The rectus abdominis originates on the pelvis and inserts on the ribs, not the other way around. I got that wrong on some tests. It does not in any way, shape, or form change the functional movements that I'm talking about, right? So I told the guy, hey bro, you got the origin and insertion wrong. Now, does he say, oh shit, sorry man? No. He then proceeds to tell me that nobody in the modern anatomical world uses the terms origin insertion or talks about muscles like that anymore. That's outdated terminology. Bro, I think if you talk to any doctor, anatomist, strength coach, physiotherapist, massage therapists, I'm pretty sure most people still use muscular origins and insertions, and I'm pretty sure they're still really useful fucking terms. You're a idiot fucking troll, and now you're banned and blocked too, right? But then now, Coach Taylor, you can't just ban and block all of the discussion. Actually, yeah, I can. And we're going to talk about that. But I want to talk about a third person who's probably listening to this podcast that didn't like something that I said talking about end-of-life studies and obesity, and how I've said that obesity isn't, no one looks back at their life and thinks about their weight. It's family relationships and travel and working less and not caring what people think at the end of life studies. And she disagrees because she works with people and has for a long time who do get happiness from weight loss. And we had a good discussion about it. And then we followed each other on Instagram and we have a little bit of a different opinion, and now we're kind of like friends. No one got insulting. We had a difference of opinion, had a discussion. Because, like, yeah, I'll bet you end-of-life studies, they don't talk to obese people. Because obese people don't live long enough to get to end-of-life studies. If you're morbidly obese, you don't live long enough. And for people that do get happiness from weight loss, there's also a shit ton that don't get happiness from weight loss. So I think that my argument and her argument, the whole argument, is way more simplistic, and there's so many more, is way more complicated. We can't simplify it down to these specific this way or the highway. There's so many variables, and it's different for different people, and I fully understand that. There are probably people who are happy with weight loss. All I am doing is reporting on what the data says. And the data says that people that make it to end-of-life studies, weight and appearance is never a part of that equation. Maybe earlier in their life it might be, but at the end of life, those aren't there. They're not in the data. Maybe they'll do some more and find it, and that's really cool, right? But see, we can have discussions and we can have disagreements and not fucking hate each other all because of it, right? I told you this intro was going to be super fucking long today, right? We can have these disagreements and still be friends and be respectful to each other. And this brings me to my last point that I want to talk about with all of this. Yeah. Oh no, second last point. Then I have one more point after that. I will ban and block people off my page. Look, I've said this before. I am all for discussion. If you have an area of expertise as rigorous and as studied as mine, I'll have a discussion with you. Otherwise, I won't. Because what most experts will tell you is you can't have a discussion with someone that's not an equivalent level expert, because the people don't understand enough of the basics. It's like flat earthers. You can't have a discussion with a flat earther about how the earth's not flat if they don't have a competent understanding of physics and mathematics. Right? I watched a documentary on flat earthers the other day, and what the one guy said, he's like, all these scientists, they try to throw all this math at us, and we're just like, look out there at the horizon. That's our evidence. Fuck those scientists using mathematics and physics to tell you that you're a fucking idiot. God, this. I'll tell you guys, this is the third round of this podcast, and this is the best intro yet. Fucking yeah, it is. So, I'll have discussions, but mostly all this information that I put out isn't intended to spark a discussion. I don't want you to take that insultingly. I'm not doing this as a discussion sparker. I'm doing this as an educational resource. I'm sharing with you the knowledge that I have and that I learned from my study. If you've got questions about that, awesome. If in your actual study and knowledge base you have points that disagree with that, present them to me. We can have a discussion about it. But otherwise, I'm not open to discussing shit. I'm giving you information that I'm learning. I'm not looking to get anything else kind of back from that. I hope that makes sense. I don't mind you fact checking me. In fact, I think you should. I think you should fact check me. Fact check everything in your life. Not on Goop with Gwyneth Paltrow. That's not fact checking. This leads me to the last point. The problem with all of this trolling and the expert versus non-expert problems and how we're all supposed to have an opinion, yada, 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 which I don't believe. Oh, no, I do believe. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. It just doesn't mean that your opinion's right. This is why the best minds in the fitness world, and I can't speak to other industries, I'm sure it's the same. This is why the best minds don't put out information like I'm putting out, right? All of your fitness information out there is from a bunch of fucking people in their early 20s who with barely any life experience who are all about getting gains and getting jacked and like taking their shirts off and showing how flexed they are and what they ate today in their little tiny prepackaged salad box, blah, 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 blah. Because they're the ones that have time to do that, right? But the rest of us, the professionals, we don't really have time. I've created time in my life to do this because part of what I want to do is be someone that brings this level of education to a larger group of people. Because the best minds in our fitness industry, you don't know their names. You don't know who they are. They're not Kayla Itzines and all these fucking idiots that just worked out and are skinny that don't really know anything. They're the ones posting. The real true fitness experts that know their shit aren't taking the time to do this. They've got better things to do with their life. And that's what they do. So yeah, that was the longest intro to the podcast of all time. But I think there's some really important stuff to talk in there about. And I want people to know, if you're a fucking idiot and you're rude and you're insulting to me or anyone else on my page or in my groups, I will ban and block you because I don't give a fuck about your opinion, and this is a happy place to talk about things, not a place to insult and try to push your pseudo-scientific bullshit that you learned off of Goop or from whatever news station you're watching these days. That's the intro for episode 46. There is more stuff coming. I will get into the rest of the topics. Don't worry. It won't just be a long-winded rant like that. But I think it all needed to get said. I really do. Episode 46. Things that needed to get said. Let's get on to the rest of it. See, YouTube? That's how it's done. Now, we cut, switch to the next line, and start the next topic. And so, if you're watching this on YouTube, sorry, I was looking at the microphone, not the camera, you think I would know that by now. This is how I do it, and this is how I'm gonna do it on this channel. It's just gonna run the whole gamut. Oh, shit. It's just going to run the whole gamut. You're going to see the whole thing. I'm not going to edit and crop because it's so much fucking work. If you want to see really well edited, put together programs, go look up Coach Taylor TV. Much, much better. Much better. Well, from the editing. Content, no, this is good fucking content. Get used to it. All right, let us talk about Health Odyssey 2019. Do an update. There wasn't too much update last week. Not a lot of different updates, but there was a huge major update. So look, I'm going to give you a book recommendation. Someone's asked me to give book recommendations all the time. I'm not going to do it all the time, but I will give book recommendations here and there when I think it's important. I just finished and read The Omnivore's Dilemma, Michael Pollan. Highly, highly recommend The Omnivore's Dilemma, Michael Pollan. Michael Pollan is a journalist that has done really exhaustive research into human health and nutrition. And it's very good. So far, in my knowledge and fact-checking, I haven't been able to find any flaws in the information that he's presented. It's all very good and accurate. And this Omnivore's Dilemma was fantastic. I do recommend it. And why I'm talking about that book is last week I started a new thing with my Odyssey and my nutrition. Is bringing in Meatless Monday, which actually has like 500,000 hashtags on Instagram. So Apparently other people do Meatless Monday too. Now why? Look, I'm a fucking carnivore. If you go on to my personal Instagram, TaylorSimon_Renaissance Man, you'll see food that I cook. I fucking love meat. But in our society, we definitely overeat meat. If we look through all paleo history, all of anthropological history, all current tribal style cultures, they don't eat as much meat as we do. Yes, there's exceptions like the Inuit up north. I get it, because there's no vegetables there. Did you know they actually have genetic adaptations to eating food like that? What? 99% of humanity, though, has eaten like a 70 to 80% plant-based diet. Maybe even higher. Now, is cooking meat important? Did that allow us to develop these big brains and change how we evolved and our physiology? Absolutely. We can eat meat, we do eat meat, we should eat meat. And when I say meat, I mean animal proteins, right? But we don't 14-ounce steaks, even 12, 10 and 10, 12-ounce steaks. It's too much, right? And I'm going to talk about next week why the paleo people and these new carnivore people are so fucking stupid. And how much they lack an understanding of human physiology. But that's not this week. That's next week. Fun preview. So I put in Meatless Monday to start to explore vegetarian options, vegan options, and just to increase the plant intake. Look, if my mom were alive today, she passed away just over 6 years ago now, suddenly, she probably wouldn't know who the fuck I was. And not because just this wicked beard that I'm starting to grow. And for anyone watching on YouTube, I'm really sorry about the beard. I'm growing it out, and it's in an awkward phase with some weird fucking shit growing in weird random directions. She would have been like, who is this kid? What the fuck is he eating? Because I was a really picky kid, and I never ate vegetables. And now, like, I'm growing and eating mushrooms, and I eat tons of different vegetables, and I use vinegars and stuff, and I like more sour foods and fermenting and sauerkrauts, and she'd be like, what the fuck? But it's really good for us. I'm trying to get this plant-based stuff. So I'm starting Meatless Monday just as a way to take out a little bit of meat and add in more vegetables. And so I'm Thug Kitchen. If you guys don't know Thug Kitchen, Thug, Thug, Thug Kitchen, awesome bloggers from LA. They've been around a long time and following them forever. Wicked recipes, wicked cookbooks. They're straight vegan. And what better way to learn how to cook vegetables than from vegans who are really fucking good at it, because they gotta be. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking them out. Thug Kitchen. That's where I get the recipes. So Mondays, I'm cooking this up. And now I was worried that I would be hungry, I wouldn't feel full, or the next day I would be hungry. That hasn't occurred. It was delicious. The Meatless Monday I made pierogies with black bean and potato stuffing, like everything from scratch, the dough, the batter, the everything. And now it's Wednesday, so I'm a little bit behind. I don't remember the other things that I made. Also, did a second Meatless Monday 2 days ago, which you're not supposed to know about in this podcast because I was supposed to record it in the morning on Monday. Did a second Meatless Monday, and it was fucking awesome. Made black bean and sweet potato enchiladas. Holy fuck. Like, if I didn't tell you that they were straight vegan and you were a huge carnivore, you would still fucking love these enchiladas. Like, they were good. So yeah, I felt satisfied, contented. It was super awesome. Next day, don't feel extra hungry or anything like that. So it's working out really well. Definitely, I don't want to admit this, but my wife and I talked about this the other day. When those days where you just eat plants, you feel really good. Or if you eat vegetables and like fish and like lighter meats, you just feel lighter and less stuffed and less heavy is the only way I can describe it. Don't get me wrong, man. I've got a beautiful Traeger smoker, and I'm going to still cook briskets and ribs and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just going to be a smarter human about it. And in Omnivore's Lemma, he's going to talk about, and you'll get into more, when we source those meats, where they come from is really important. How they're raised, how they're growing, all that. It's really, really important. So yeah, read the book, add the Meatless Mondays in. If you don't eat a lot of vegetables, you should. And we're going to talk about it more next week, about why it's so important. because a lot of people don't really understand the true ramifications to our health of the issues with this low carb shit and this carnivore shit. Like, I know people that do carnivore. They literally only eat meat. And it's always the same woo-foo bullshit. Oh, it cures this disease and seizures. Oh, fuck me. Anywho, that's the update on the Odyssey, Health Odyssey 2019. Everything else is going pretty awesome. My shoulder issue pain is there still, but we're dealing with it. So I haven't started some of the things I want to start on the exercise front yet. Just because my shoulder's trashed on me. But we'll sort it out. Yes, physios, if either of my physios are listening to this, I'm going to see you more often. Blah, 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 blah. I'm coming in, don't worry. That's the update on the Odyssey. We'll touch base on that again next week. YouTube. If anyone actually watches this on YouTube, sorry, I keep shaking the camera by touching that desk. I'll try to stop. If anyone actually watches this on YouTube, do you want me to talk to you in between sets? Are there other things you would like to know? I'm willing to do that. You're just going to have to give me some feedback. But now we're going to talk about some fasting because I love it. And you should too. And that's what we're going to talk about. All right, so last week I promised I was going to drop something big article, and I did. And it was long. It was called Why I Love Fasting and Why You Should Too. And the shit, it's been picked up. Now, it hasn't been read as much as my really famous article, the brutally honest 6 reasons you're still over fat. That one's like well over 1 million reads now. It still gets shared and read all the time. But this one, Why I Love Fasting, Why You Should Too. I put a lot of time into that, and it got a little long. I don't know, it was like 15 pages, 6,000 words. I don't know. I like to write when I put my mind to it. But it's really important that I put this article out because it's something that I think people really need to think about, because I think there's a lot of misinformation about the purpose of fasting out there. And the fitness industry has coined the term intermittent fasting, and that is a huge problem because everything in the fitness industry is just about weight loss. And that's like the biggest problem with the fitness industry is they don't actually care about or look at health, right? They just don't. They'll pretend that they do, but it's all about weight loss. And so fasting is like a new weight loss tool, and that's not what it's about. And that's why I had to put out this article, because there is so much support and evidence with fasting protocols for all animal species, including humans. Look, it doesn't cure cancer. It doesn't fix every disease out there, right? But like just today I read another article on fasting protocols decreasing incidences of cancer. Like, there is something to this, and it goes across every single different genre of physiology and health, like your gut microbiome, your brain health, your cardiovascular health, oncology, like your hormone, like just digestion, tooth, mouth health, like literally everything. I have yet to come across any data with negative outcomes from fasting stuff. And that's why it's so important. I want people to understand when it comes to adding fasting into your life, it's about your overall health, not just weight loss. Will weight and fat loss occur? If you're super unhealthy and eat shit, probably. I'm so sad. Like, if you're watching on YouTube, look at this awesome shirt. Too many idiots, not enough axes. I love Viking shit, right? I have all these cool clothes that I bought that are starting to get too big, and I'm going to have to get rid of them. And I'm really sad, so I might try to put on a bunch of weight. Just joking. And I meant fat, not weight. I know, someone will call me out on that. But it's just, I want people to really, truly understand that this is about health, and that all of the data is showing huge positive impacts to human health by adding fasting protocols. Now, you don't have to have a set schedule when we're talking about this way. The 16 and 8 is really popular, and the warrior style, and the 24. Like, there's tons of different styles, and do it. Like, do it. I eat in a 4-hour window every day. Do that, right? But if we're just going to talk about general health and you don't want to, just at least add a couple times a month a 16-hour fast into your life. Even that will have some kind of small impact over time, right? Guys, a 16-hour fast. Stop eating at 8 at night. Don't eat till noon the next day. That's a 16-hour fast. You're going to sleep most of it. Just do that a couple times a month if that's all you're willing to put in, right? But recognize that just how important that it is. Like I just read a research report the other day on, they were looking at blood sugar levels on people going through fasting for Ramadan. You know what? Diabetics that were fasting for Ramadan, their blood sugar actually balanced better during their fasting. What? Yeah, so I just wanted to touch about that. And then I had a couple of questions. First one was on thyroid stuff. So look, my wife has thyroid stuff, had thyroid meds for a long time. She does fasting, no issues. If you're taking any medications that have to be taken with food, you need to talk to your doctor or pharmacist about that. And if you can change the timing. Now look, most of the doctors, pharmacists, and nutritionists out there are going to tell you that fasting's terrible and it'll fuck your whole body up, and don't do it. Just ignore that part. Just ask them if you can take your medication at different times to match with your fasting protocols, right? And the second question people ask me, what about working out and fasting? I eat dinner usually about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and that's the first time I've eaten all day. I train always in the morning because I hate training in the afternoons, so I only work out in the morning. No problem. The first few times, yeah, your body's adapting to something new. It might be a challenge. That's okay. It's okay. You're going to have to push through it and get through it. So yeah, working out is fine. Once you adapt to it, you really won't notice it that much. If you're an ultra endurance athlete, and I'm not talking like putting on your fancy little like running water bottles and doing a 5K around the neighborhood. If you're running like ultra distances, nutrition requirements might change a little bit, especially if you have really low body fat levels. So message me if you're in that category, but most people are not. So yeah, that's everything about the fasting stuff. For now, message me if you have any questions or thoughts about it, because I don't think there's anything else that we have control over in our lives right now that can have a more positive effect on our health for the long term than making sure you have fasting protocols in there. Even if you're eating a lot of shitty food, fasting protocols still have positive impacts on you. So that's why I consider fasting and adding fasting into your life even more important than necessarily cleaning up your diet. Don't misquote me on that. I didn't say clean up your diet's not important. I just said that fasting, I think, is even more important than that. And I've been really happy. I think since I put that article out and talked, I've been getting a lot of messages and talked to a lot of people. A lot of people have started adding fasting into their life. And it's awesome. I fucking love it. Fucking love it. Any other help you need from me, just ask. Uh-oh. Guys. YouTube, we gotta take a break. Alright, YouTube fans, yeah. So I'm just having some fucking technical difficulties these days. This is not going to be one continuous video. I'm going to have to shake it up a little bit. My hard drive apparently has been downloading every podcast I subscribed to and filled up, and everything stopped recording. So that's why I had to have a little break, and now I got to be somewhere soon. So I'm going to record maybe a couple more topics, and then have to take another break because I got to get to my Muay Thai training for the day. But then I'll finish it after that. So anyway, here we go on to the next topic. All right, so I had a question from one of my members at the studio training the other day, because someone in their world is really into ultra running or endurance stuff. I don't know, cool. Like, I want everyone to be happy and healthy. But the question was, their coach told them you can't ever stop running and training, because if you do, your muscle will turn to fat. And then I'm like, no, yeah, like if you stop exercising, your muscle mass will start to atrophy, and you might, gain weight, which would be fat, right? No. Apparently, there's a group of people that still believe your muscle cells themselves will turn into fat if you stop exercising. I don't know how to answer this other than just saying it's not fucking true. Muscle cells can't convert to fat cells. That's not how it works. If you stop exercising and keep eating a lot, you can add fat cells and your muscle cells can atrophy away, so you'll look more fat, but no, you can't turn muscle to fat. And this is just another one of those examples of being really careful who you take health and fitness advice from. Any coach, oh, I can do air quotes now because people on YouTube can see it. Any coach that tells you that muscle cells will turn to fat cells is instantly demonstrating a horrifically bad understanding of basic physiology. Therefore, maybe you should question everything else they're telling you about physiology. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought. It is a little bit ridiculous, the basic lack of understanding that so many people have about so much. And that's cool, except when they're pretending to be or purporting to be a coach or an educator. Fuck. All right, last week on episode 45, we talked about foam rolling and rolling. It could be foam rolling and myofascial release. Today we're going to talk about rolling again, but a totally different kind. On my Coach Taylor Facebook page, I put up a video last week of rolling. Think somersaults, backwards and forwards, laying on your side and just rolling over like a log. I've always said, roll over like a log. That kind of rolling. Why? Look, inside your head, you have something called a vestibular system, and it works like a gyroscope. If you don't know how a gyroscope works, look it up. Read some Wikipedia about it, because those fancy phones that you use that orient themselves and so many things in the world that you don't understand rely on gyroscopes for this orientation, to know when right side is up or when you turn your phone sideways. This vestibular system inside of your head works the same kind of general way, in that it has to be calibrated. You have to calibrate the system to let it know how to orient itself, right? There is an interesting theory in anthropology that I actually subscribe to and think makes a lot of fucking sense. I can't find any particular research data on it. If anybody has some, let me know. But the idea is, and again, this makes a lot of sense, that this vestibular system, as kids, and I've talked about this before, we watch kids play on the playground, they spin till they throw up and roll down hills and get dizzy and think it's hilarious, right? And they smile and they laugh. And the idea is that we've evolved this enjoyment from these activities as children, because that is how we calibrate our gyroscope. That's how this vestibular system learns to orient and work. Then we get to an age where we stop doing that. We stop acting like a kid, and we stop rolling around, and we sit in chairs, and we just never do it anymore. And then as adults, everyone says the same thing, right? They spin and they get dizzy. But then wonder why do gymnasts and dancers and a lot of wrestlers, they can spin and roll around, they don't get dizzy? The answer is they don't stop spinning that gyroscope, right? They're constantly training it, because those gyroscopes need to be retrained regularly. That vestibular system needs to be retrained. And that is what's responsible for not just not being dizzy when you move around, but your balance, right? So when you watch people in their elder years, they're doing these, I'm not going to get into how much I hate 99% of the elderly training programs, how stupid they are. But yeah, get a soup can, try to stand on one leg and push the soup can overhead. That's not going to help your balance and coordination and your vestibular system. It's not how it works. In order to calibrate it, you have to move it through space, right? And this is where rolling comes in. Those dancers and wrestlers, they're constantly moving and spinning. That gyroscope is staying oriented. So we've started to incorporate a lot of these things. And yeah, people get dizzy. And then we stop, but you can't, man. You got to work through it. So rolling, somersaults, things like that are really important to incorporate into your life fitness, right? I do a lot of rolling and spinning. I want to learn handstands once the shoulder gets healed up. But I also love the inversion table. Why? That's not because it does feel great and decompress feels like you decompress yourself. I recognize that there's not like a lot of anatomical science to some of this. There is a little, but it feels good and I feel good afterwards. But it's also being upside down. Being inverted is another way that you can get that system. And inverted, then you twist and turn and do things. It's just another way to calibrate that gyroscope. And the more rigorously you can put it through different orientations in space, the better you're going to be able to calibrate it, and the better your balance and the less dizzy you'll get when you do these things is. Sometimes my language skills are lacking when I'm flying off the cuff here. So that's really important to do that. So adding in this rolling and training, and maybe I'll do some more videos about it and things. In my online, we're going to start programming more of it. At our studio, we program a lot more of it now. And you've got to get through it, and you've got to do it. And look, if you're in your 40s and haven't done this since you were 6, for 3.5 decades, you haven't done it. You're not going to roll around twice and suddenly, oh, look, I don't get dizzy anymore. You're going to have to work at it consistently, probably for a couple of years before that starts to get better. You got to go through that. If you don't know how to do it properly, because unfortunately as kids we do know how to do it properly, and then we forget and we start living life. You've got to get some training. Get someone that knows gymnastics, trampoline coaches, wrestlers, martial artists. A lot of those people are really good at knowing how to roll and proper techniques so you don't hurt yourself. You start just doing forward somersaults and you haven't done them in 30 years and you've got some stiff muscles, you're going to fuck yourself up. But you got to start doing it. So actually starting laying prone, just flat on your stomach and rolling sideways like a log, it's probably the best way to start. Also just standing and spinning, right? And learning how to spotting technique that dancers use. Just stand, look at the wall, spin around really quick and look back at that spot on the wall. That's not the dancing spotting technique. There's more to it than that. And now I'm just talking about spinning. Just spin, look at the wall, spin the other way, look at the wall. Do that 2 or 3 times. You're probably going to get a little dizzy. Do that 2 or 3 times a day, every day for the next 2 years, and that gyroscope will start to reset itself. And this is how you're going to maintain your balance and coordination and improve your proprioception long term, so that when you're in your 80s, you can still do these things. And trust me, I've trained, worked with, and met many people in their 70s and 80s who fucking would blow your mind what they're still capable of doing because they never stopped. But the thing that I hear people all the time, oh, my balance isn't good. Nah, fuck that. Everyone can develop good balance. It is built into our physiology. I'm sure there's a genetic exception somewhere, but we are physiologically built to have balance and coordination. You just haven't been training it. Because you either stop doing anything or you're working out on machines. This is another reason why machine training is so fucking dumb, right? You got to train these systems. Start adding some rolling and things like that into your life. Fuck that. I hit all my notes without even looking at them. Good. Add some rolling to your life. If you get dizzy, try not to puke on anything that can't be easily cleaned. Right? We got some time. We'll do the next topic still. Let's talk about kids and fat. Alright, so this is another thing that was presented to me the other day. I didn't know this. Why? Because I'm not a parent. I don't know everything about raising kids. I freely and openly admit that. Apparently, as kids get older, they drink breast milk. Maybe they drink formula. But then as they get older, they start drinking milk. A lot of debate about that just in general, right? Once we hit a certain, I'm not going to get into that today, but they are recommended to drink lower fat and lower fat milk until eventually you're at like skim milk. So let's see. Let's take out the healthy fats and increase the percentage of sugar. Because in milk, you know that lactose in milk? Lactose is sugar. If you didn't know, now you do. So we're okay taking out all this fat, but then adding in tons and tons of sugar, right? Why? What? Look, lactose itself, humans mostly can't eat. We stop producing lactase when we hit a certain age, right? Now, over time, a lot of people evolved a better tolerance for it, but I promise you this. Take out all lactose for 2 weeks as an adult, then add it back in. Let me know how that goes for you. right? In general, lactose is something should stop consuming as a child, right? The milk industry has done a brilliant job of convincing us that milk is the best food out there for us. Let's not get too much into that. There is data behind it. Go fact check it before you send me any angry messages, right? So we freak out about the milk, the fat that we're feeding kids in the milk. And apparently then you also are supposed to stop feeding them butter and other fatty things. But no one freaks out when they eat fries and nuggets and chicken fingers. What? Tell people those are bad for kids, they'll have a fucking freak out. Trust me, I know. I get fucking freaked out on all the time. Like, let's talk about, if you might have gone into a restaurant and seen a kids menu. It's always the same thing: spaghetti and meatballs, chicken fingers or chicken nuggets, and grilled cheese sandwiches. And this is where I'm going to get fucking shat on again, but I just can't stop. I just can't stop. Why is that a kids menu? Parents all the time, like, oh, that's just all my kids will eat. No, that's what you fucking trained them to eat. Because if you go to other places on the planet that's not in Canada and the United States, that doesn't exist. Children there eat what adults eat because they're little mini adults. They need more nutrition. Chicken fingers and fries and pizza and spaghetti and meatballs? Are you fucking kidding me? Why is that a kid's menu? And parents freak out when they go to a restaurant and they don't have that. Or I've seen parents freak out when other parents order like steak and potatoes and vegetables for their kids. What? Like it's crazy. This is a trained behavior. Of course kids should eat healthy fats. They need to eat a lot of healthy fats. Plant-based fats, not processed ones, naturally occurring plant-based fats, and animal fats from the proper types of properly raised animals. Please read The Omnivore's Dilemma. You'll understand what types of animals you should eat, or read Dr. Mark Hyman's book, Food, What the Heck Should I Eat? You'll know exactly the types of animals that are best to eat them. That's what kids should eat. Taking out fat and increasing sugar, because then no one freaks out when kids are eating tons of candy and fruit roll-ups. Like it's just like a non-stop barrage of fucking sugar. And it's what I talk about my fasting article. It's what that article is talking about, and the processed food is killing us. This is like such a great example of it. We're vilifying the wrong things, and we're feeding our children terrible shit, and we think it's okay. We're having Pizza Fridays and all this stuff at schools, and then everyone freaks out. Well, the kids gotta live life and experience. You gotta treat yourself. Yeah, I fucking get it. That happens all the time. Look, if kids don't eat cake and cookies and pizza, they're not gonna grow up to be terrible humans, because 100 years ago, nobody ate that shit. Your grandparents didn't eat that shit. If they did, it was super special occasions, right? We've got to stop. We've got to stop glorifying shitty food. It's killing people. Type 2 diabetes. Do you hear what I said? Type 2 diabetes. Used to be called adult onset diabetes, because no one got it until they were elderly. Now kids as young as 5 and 6 years old are developing this. See the other thing I just said? Developing. Because that's not a genetic inclination to get type 2 diabetes. It is 100% diet mediated. It's from eating shitty food that your body can't handle. So, can kids eat healthy fat? Not only can they should. And it's your responsibility as a parent to making sure that they get that food. That could cause some controversy. All right, YouTube. I got to take another break. We got one more section to go after this. You won't have to wait to see it. I'm going to cut straight to it. But I got to go to see my Muay Thai coach. We're back. Quick for you. Longer for me. All right, we're going to last topic now. Last topic. We stop researching. All right. Okay, here we go. Last topic of the podcast. What are we on? Episode 46, right? Yeah, last topic of episode 46. For you, that was a mere 10 seconds. For me, that was an hour and a half. I left you, went to Muay Thai. I was having more technical glitches anyway, so I'm like, fuck it. Definitely not skipping my training session today. All right, last topic. What are we going to talk about today? I don't fully mean what I'm about to say. I mostly mean it. Can we stop please researching the specific compounds in every single fucking food? What do I mean by mostly mean it? Obviously, we still need to research all the different compounds and elements of the world around us and how they interact in our bodies, etc., etc. But, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 times a week, I see an article or someone sends me an article about new compound found in this plant decreases risk of cancer 30% or increases this 100%. So everyone jumps on the fucking bandwagon. This is where all the diets and fads come from, right? If you like ate every one of these compounds, all like turmeric and ginger and like every day, like there's something. If you just ate them all, like you'd have like a 5,000% increased chance of not getting cancer. Like, so yes, should scientists still be studying these things so we can understand how biology works and now into the microbiome? Absolutely. But look, if you look at all of this stuff, and this we're going to talk about more next week when I talk to all the paleo people out there. If you look at all the research and all of it, it's one theme. There is one overriding theme. Eat more plants. That's it. I didn't say go vegan or go vegetarian if you want to. Go for it, whatever. Eat more plants. Because all of this stuff comes from plants, right? Yes, there's good stuff for us in meats too, but vitamins and minerals, there's some minerals, not that many vitamins. On grass-fed stuff, there's more, right? But that's more our proteins and good fats are coming from the animal side. For all our phytonutrients and minerals and more vitamins and different compounds and how they all interact, it's from plants. And just because you increase this one compound in this one plant does this, so you take 5,000 times the dose, you don't understand. Oftentimes these things work best in conjunction with all the other compounds that come together, right? So you can't just, taking more of one thing doesn't necessarily do that much more good. It's the combination that comes from, because our biology has evolved eating these things as units, and that's how we've evolved to digest and utilize them from their natural source. So instead of spending all this time trying to figure out all the different little things to put into your diet and how we can get more people to eat more turmeric in their water, how about this instead? Let's just try to put all of our time and money into figuring out how do we get people to actually eat more plants, because it's not hard to get all of this stuff. Eat a variety of plants. Eat them. The more colors, the better. The more variety, the better. Done. Like, I just solved most of the problems of human health. Like, that can be contributed to diet. Which is a fuck ton of them. Again, read Dr. Mark Hyman's book, Food, What the Heck Should I Eat? It's pretty fucking solid. Plants, and a variety of plants. And that's why, like, don't stress so much about every new study and every little article that comes out says eat this, eat that. Just ignore it all. Don't read them. Put them away. Eat 70 to 80% of your diet in plants, the rest in really well-sourced animals. Done. Add some fasting. That's all you have to do. Do that for the rest of your life, and you will be as healthy and happy as possibly will be from anything related to your diet. Then add a little bit of fitness, and you're good. That's all you got to do. I don't even know how to, this is why it's so hard to talk about this stuff, is there's nothing to sell. There's no product, there's no program, right? And that's why all of the I don't like to say, the bad corporations out there, but the big companies and pharmaceutical companies and everybody, they're not promoting this or advocating it or researching it because there's nothing to sell. There's no money to be made. It doesn't mean that pharmaceutical companies and medicine and big companies don't have a place and serve a function. But the primary thing that you have to do and always be focused on are these basic health things first. And that is just 70 to 80% plants, a huge variety of them, and then the rest healthy animal sources. Done. So stop worrying about every little individual compound element and don't jump on these bandwagons like turmeric. Turmeric was the superfood for a long time. No one even fucking talks about it anymore. That's how it goes. Eat better. That is how it's done. All right, let's do a little conclusion for anyone that is still watching on YouTube. If you've made it this far, we're going to do a little conclusion, and that'll be it. If you've got questions or anything else like that you want, message me. Let me know. I'm here for you. I am here for you. All right, that concludes, I think, episode 46 of Coach Taylor Radio. This has literally been, by far, the most difficult episode ever to record. Like, this has been more difficult than my Coach Taylor TV shit, and I am way behind, and this is like version 4 of some parts of this. I fucking hope there was some good information in there and someone out there liked it, because I put a shit ton of work into this one just to get it out. Yeah. Fuck. Next week I got some good stuff to talk about. If you got questions between now and then, let me know. I put into my Coach Taylor Simon group on Facebook. We are running a spring challenge, which I talked about. Did I talk about? I don't even know what version I talked about here. According to my notes, it is in there. If you're interested in that, drop me a message, ask me questions, check out the website. You can experience a little bit of this Odyssey and this journey that I'm on. As always, I very, very much appreciate your time listening to this. I literally do it just to make anyone's life out there just a little bit better. That's what I'm here for. Till next week. Thank you for watching. If you're still watching, I hope you enjoyed it. Got questions, comments, anything else? Drop me a line. Let me know. Coach Taylor Radio, episode 46.